This is ATA 2017, episode number 1 with Scott Fitzy of Outlaw Swamp. Hutchin, your host at Whitetail Rendezvous, and I'm at the 2017 ATA show, and I'm with a good friend, Scott Fitzy. Scott and I hooked up at his deer camp a year or two ago, and the stories don't stop, folks. So without further ado, Scott Fitzy.
Good to see you, Bruce. How you been?
I've been well, except for my shoulder, dude.
I know. We missed you this year at deer camp. How's that shoulder surgery healing up for you?
It's going really good. Actually, 12 weeks out, they said I'm getting my flexibility back. So it's gonna work out really well. And I'm excited because then I can go hunting again. I missed the whole deer season last year, so that's Say, what are you doing here at ATA? What's going on?
Well, I've been going to ATA now for roughly 4 years, and I'm here with Carbon Skin Products and Gary Moore. It's funny to see how things have changed because when we first started, I was Gary's very first pro staff. And, no one wants to give you the time of day when you're trying to get in the industry. And I thought to myself, I'd rather go help somebody try to make it. And if we don't, we don't. Or then go and get on a big team that you're really, you do your part, but it's not as much with getting your hands dirty. So I've been with Gary now for about 4 years. I use the product. Anybody that knows me knows that I'm not going to promote something that I don't use myself. Can you kill deer without Carbon Skin Glow Smoke? Can you kill deer without his scent elimination? Sure you can. But like I said in the last podcast, I try to take 10 things away every time I'm going out into the woods, and it helps. I mean, this year I shot Ironsides, who I've been chasing for 4 years. So it's a good product.
Why don't you just give an overview of what the product really does, what Gary Moore has come up with?
Well, Gary, he has a scent elimination that he was a fisherman, not by trade, but he lives in Florida Keys, and he wanted to develop something for himself. So he was using, like the rest of us, all different type of scent elimination. He got with a chemist, and he put together this lotion. But, it's more than that. Like, I use the scent, the exfoliation within prior in the shower, and then when I use the scent elimination when I'm out there. Now, Glow Smoke has really got my attention because when I first met him, he didn't even have packaging for it. It was just coming in little bottles like you would get from shampoo at the hotel, but it glowed in the dark. And I said to him, now, how'd you think about that? He said, well, a lot of times I'd be getting in my stand in the morning. We all check it prior to getting out there, but the wind would change. And he said, I couldn't see it before light. And I can feel with him because everybody knows I'm ridiculously early in my stand in the morning. And I do check it, and it works. It's a great product.
Well, let's change it up a bit. Talk to me about Outlaw Swamp and what that whole crew is about, because it's traditional Wisconsin deer camp, and what they got going is really great, folks. So tell us about that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you saying that. And, Outlaw Swamp is just a way that we can put something down that keeps all of us family together and everybody else around. I really wanted to tell the story about Linden Station and the people that my cousins and my family that I hunt with out there. And this gave me an avenue to say, hey, let's go out and let's start Outlaw Swamp. It's been a 5-year LLC now. And, we got a TV show now, and, we do a lot of charity work. And when people see it, and talk about it, they, knock on wood, it's been pretty positive, and I'm very happy with that.
Let's talk about the TV show. What's that about? Is it on Pursuit Channel?
Yes, it's on Pursuit Channel. July 3rd at 10:30 Eastern will be our very first episode. And I'm real excited about Wicked Stick Outdoors because I met Darren Leone at filming a commercial for Carbon Skin 3 years ago. And I just had surgery on my knee. So I'm down there, and we're doing all these shots and drones and everything else, and everybody could tell that I was struggling. I mean, my knee, I had surgery 2 weeks prior to it. And so Darren picks me up and carries me out of this gorge. And, I mean, he's a mountain of a dude anyway. And so he's just like, Fitzy, you gonna make it? I'm like, I don't know, man, if I'm gonna make it or not. I said, I got Advil and a Pez dispenser right now, and I'm doing the best I can to get up this darn hill. So we struck up a friendship. I came down, stayed at his house, did some hunting, and he said we should start a show. And I said, all right. I said, "You all in?" He said, "I'm all in if you come with." I said, "All right." So Wicked Stick Outdoors, Darren Leone and his wife Sierra, and we started getting sponsors. And you never think that anybody's really gonna, that you have enough to offer that someone's going to want to give you money for it. And we've been fortunate enough that we've got a lot of sponsors going on it. Still, it's a struggle, but and the show is basically not, can you shoot the biggest buck? Not, it shows fishing, taking kids out in the woods, taking kids fishing, bird hunting. I mean, I said, Darren, if I'm going to do this, it's got to be a show of what I do. Ice fishing. We don't just hunt deer, even though bow hunting is my what I love to do is bow hunt whitetails. I said I want to be a bigger picture of showing the lifestyle that we live, and that's what the show is about.
That's great. How about your charitable work? We were laughing before the show, and Linden Station, he takes it over and raises money down there. So tell the people about some of the 501c3s you're involved in.
Yeah, well, it was called the Outlaw Swamp Charity of Focus. And one thing is, you guys know that when you want to give back, there's so many good charities out there that at times you can get diluted because you do a little bit here, you do a little bit here, you do a little bit here because you really want to help out. Well, what I said is I said, fellas, we're going to pick one charity every year. I said, it's going to be a local charity that has a positive impact on our community. I said, we're going to raise money. So that's what we've done. We've raised iPads for the kids in special needs. My son has special needs, and we raised so all of his classmates got iPads. Cancer Foundation, Friends and Family Cancer Foundation out of Linden Station, which I didn't realize how big it is because I know the people that help run it, and they never talk about how big this organization is. It's huge. And Dewey Burns and Becky. So we raised money. We did our fishery, and it helped give people rides that were getting chemotherapy in town. And I'm sitting there, and Yukon Trails is a campground outside Linden Station. And a gentleman came up to me and he said, I just want you to know that I had cancer and it helped pay for getting there. And it was pretty special. So the town has rallied behind us. Linden Station, 7 bars, 1 street. Scott Fitz's house is at the end of it, So, everybody's like very politically correct. A lot of great charitable work comes from Norms, Beagle, Swagger, the Double B. There's nothing they wouldn't do to help out in the community. And we try to help them out by then giving them business when we're done doing our charity work. Right. But what we have coming up right now is January 21st, Saturday, will be the 3rd annual Outlaw Swamp Dead Sea Fishery. And it started out, we're up north on a Friday, and we said we're going to go fishing. And we said, let's get everybody together. So we made a couple phone calls, and I wasn't on, doing all the social media stuff like I do now. But next thing you know, we had 60 people out there. Saturday, the next day. So then I just took a hat and passed a hat. And then I raffled off a couple swamp shirts I just happened to have in my truck. And I'm like, we're on to something. So then the next year, the local DJ, Ricky, I said, you ever hear of a DJ on the ice? He goes, no. I said, you want to be the first one?
Great idea.
He said, yeah. So he comes out and he MCs it, and he brings out just the DJs if you were going to a club to see it, and helps us give away our prizes. I man the booth. Shane Fitzgerald, Darren Fitzgerald, Jim Fitzgerald, Jack Fitzgerald, Pat Sinzik, Casey Ryzik, Shane Ryzik. We all work it. Rich Raisback, Chad Jackson, and it's Outlaw Swamp will never really get big. We are in our sweet spot. This is what it was meant to be.
Yeah, it is fun getting in the garage and all sorts of different meat. I remember they had some hog the time I was there, last time I was there, but it's just great. Now talk about the swamp and how hard it is to hunt big bucks there. Oh,
well, the swamp is very tough. This year it rained, and it rained, and it rained, and it rained. And out of my 160 acres, it felt like we were all hunting a block. And I have a gator, and I must have winched out my gator 10 times. And not only did I winch it out 10 times, but then coming out after bringing a deer out, I had to take a running start to get into the ruts, and I hit a stump, shot my brother out the window of the gator, and he had my Browning with him that snapped in half. So there was a picture of me holding my Browning, and as soon as I knew he was okay in the mud, I'm like, "You don't by chance still have my gun, do you?" He's like, "No, I don't have your gun." And I'm looking, and I had to reach down in 2 feet of mud. And I pulled out and I'm like, how am I going to clean? Oh, it's in 2 pieces. Don't worry about it. No, we're not going to have to clean it. So only the tough survive out at the swamp. It is, so, it's good for nothing but hunting and making the best memories I've ever had in my entire life. It is. But I did have a good year this year. I've been hunting a deer called Ironsides for 4 years, and it's very weird for me to name deer. But I guess I learned that you have to do it, especially when you're trying to do right by your sponsors, because you just can't say that deer. I'm like, I'm not naming my deer. They're not my pets. But so I had to come up with this name, and he's just an old deer. When I first saw him, he looked like he was 3 or 4 already. He probably wasn't. I can't judge it like the rest of these guys can, but I had encounter after encounter. I had him in front of me for 45 minutes on November 9th last year on my dad's birthday with everybody at my house, and I couldn't get out of my stand because it was like 40. I'm texting my dad. I'm like, "Dad, do you mind if I come a little bit late?" He's like, "To a party at your house for me?" "Yeah, you're fine." So I didn't want to booger my stand, and then my wife came out, and she's filming for me. It was a date night, and she looked at me, and it was during the rut, and she's like, "Josie girl," goes, "You're not going to enjoy this movie, are you?" I said, "No, I'm in. Let's go." She goes, "I got an idea. Why don't I come out and film for you?" I'm like, "That's why I married you." So we were out there, and I'll be darned, he kept showing up on the other end of the field, and we're out there, and my truck's parked there, and my truck, Outlaw Swamp, on it and stuff. Next thing you know, Ironside steps out by my truck, and it was almost like he raised his head, and she has it on film, and it's going to be in the show here on July 3rd. But I'm like, "Nah, you're just showing your hind end to me." I'm like, "Nah, you're just," and we just encounter after encounter, and the best part about it is, when I first tried to be on TV and do this thing, I was obsessed. Like anything else in work and anything else, you get bored. When I started to let go a little bit and just started to have fun with it, that's when the progress started to come. And I took my son out the day that I shot the deer, shot Ironsides, and we made our little blind that we always make a natural blind, and him and I sat out there, and he's grunting on the horn and being loud, and 20 yards from where my stand I'm going to sit that night. But it was a great morning with my son Colin, and then my wife brought us lunch. We ate lunch out where my truck was only 200 yards out from where, and then that afternoon he came in, and I seen him behind me, and I stood up, and he even stopped behind a tree so I could get in full draw, and came out at 10 yards. And when I shot him, he went 20 yards and piled up. And like I say, I'm not sponsored by Ramcat, but my buddy Paul Port, who's in their booth right now, said, "Fitz, you got to try Ramcat at ATA." This Ramcat Broadhead put such a gash in this deer and just dropped it. So like I say, not sponsored by him at all, but that'll be the Broadhead I shoot going forward. But I called the farmer, and he came out with his end loader, and
That's the way to do
he
it.
came out, and I asked him if he was going to bring that end loader back in the woods. He said no, and so I drug that deer out, and he sat there, Ron, waited for me, and he's just the best farmer ever. And then we took it to his garage, and he helped me get her all dressed out and put it in the truck for me. I couldn't lift it and put it in the truck. And then I called you. You left me a message. I gave you a shout, and I'm in my garage in Illinois. And
I'm crying.
I'm in my garage in Illinois. My wife is like, "Are you just going to sit out there and look at that deer all evening?" I'm like, "I think I am going to." Yeah. And I did. And I did. So, no, it was a great thing. And the one thing that's kind of tough now is that, what do I look forward to in Illinois this year? Now, of course, hunting, you look forward to it all the time. But, I mean, it's been such a a love affair with this deer for so long that, I mean, the one thing the farmer said, he goes, at least I don't have to hear about that gosh darn deer anymore. I stop by and say, hey, have you seen him out there, this and that? I show him pictures like, now I ain't got to hear about it anymore. I said, well, I'm sure there'll be a new one you'll be hearing about since.
Well, you're going to build a new hit list, that's for sure. Well, on behalf of Whitetail Rendezvous, Scott Fitzy's been really neat to have you on the show. And pardon me, it's always a thrill, and we're going to go enjoy ATA.
You bet. Bruce, thank you very much, and I appreciate everything that you do, and look forward to having you back at Deer Camp this year.
It's never too early to think about food plots. Whitetail Rendezvous has an ebook for you. Just simply text 33444 food plot to get your copy.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.